represent. Go, rest in peace.
And so that's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna rent a Prius. Because I don't have the cleanest record in the world.
No.
Like
So you always rent a Prius?
Yes. My record is wiped off felony.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then the next one is theft of salami. Do you know about this? Mm-mm. When I was, we can start this thing off. This thing is going right now.
Oh my god, it is.
Yeah, it is.
He got me, you guys. I'm
All right.
not on yet.
Hold on, okay.
Oh my god.
Welcome to ScissorMeNow. I'm Aaron Coe, and I'm with Adrienne Baker.
Here we are.
And I was just telling you a story about how we both grew up in Redmond, right?
Yeah.
You're a Redmond baby?
Yep, East Side, baby.
So we both grew up in Redmond. It's the hometown of Microsoft, and we have this one little pavilion called Bella Bottega. And it used to be pretty sparse until we had a ton of Indian people come in, and now it's like the whole town is like a Microsoft parking pass.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, actually.
It's actually true.
It actually has the biggest influx of people in the United States that commute in and out.
Yes.
Like the population, like literally, like intensifies by 10, and then everybody leaves.
Yes.
Which is actually pretty interesting.
So to wrap up the story, I went 10 days after my 21st birthday. My first illegal beer was a PBR. My first legal beer was a PBR.
Yes.
And 10 days after my 21st birthday, I stumbled into Bella Bottega, this QFC.
Were you still working there?
Huh?
Were you still working there?
Oh, no.
No, this was long after.
So this is when I had just discovered like shears and stuff, and I came back and I was doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And I stumble in.
Yeah.
And I go to the artisanal salami section.
Yes.
And
my favorite.
I kind of like take a salami and just...
No, you fucking didn't.
I pocketed a salami.
Oh my god.
I pocketed a salami. And obviously they must have saw it, and because like... So as soon as I tried to walk out, I forgot what the guy said, but he was all like really like smug about it. He was just like something along the lines of like, "We got you now, man," like something like that.
Oh, he was in for it.
He was like, in other words, like grocery store people love to catch thieves.
It's probably the highlight of their day.
It's the highlight of their day. So I tried to run away, and you'll never guess what happened. So I took my keys to make a dash for it.
Yeah.
And he got scratched by my keys, and so he reported it to the police as a theft assault.
Because he got scratched.
Because he got scratched, and he was just for whatever reason. So yeah, that got sealed away on my record, and it's incredibly hard for me to like get apartments and stuff.
Because you have salami theft on your record.
Yes.
How? I mean, it's a great story.
This is something. No, it's. Like,
I lack stories like that. I never did anything interesting. I always joke that I'm gonna be like that 60-year-old woman that's like. You know how when everybody's telling these crazy stories?
Yes.
I'm gonna be like, sitting there twiddling my thumbs. Like, I never did anything interesting. I was the most boring person in my 20s ever.
Okay, first of all, you're not even close to being the most boring person in your 20s. You're probably the most, like, well-adjusted, like, person in your 20s that I know of in my life.
I kind of have my shit together,
but
I have not done anything super intriguing.
Why would you want to steal a salami, dude? You're good.
My boyfriend's got enough stories for us both.
Alright, that's good. Because, like...
We've got it covered. We got the stories covered.
Because you're safe. Because, like, when I think of myself in, like, my 20s...
Yeah.
Okay, what? You're 23 right now?
24.
24? Yeah. Okay. I was pretty close. I was stealing salamis.
Right? I was stealing salamis. I love it.
I was stealing salamis. It was a horrible reality because right after that happened, I called my dad to, like, because I had some cash.
Yeah.
And the bail was like, I think like $6,000 or something. And I was just like, Dad, this is going to sound like a really weird request, but can you go into my drawer and look up the $6,000, take the $6,000.
Yeah.
It's all going to be in the hundreds.
Which, what?
And he's
like $6,000 chilling in your freaking...
And it's like rolled up.
Oh my god. Your dad's probably like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's not like just, it's like rolled up like really neatly because I'm like a kid and I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to like be all hard and shit.
Yeah, you're like that. You're super cool.
Yeah, and he like takes it and he's just like, Aaron, are you sure it's $6,000? Do I have to count?
He's like, hey, dude, is this for real?
No, I'm like, trust me, one of them's $4,000, one of them's $6,000. The bigger one is $6,000.
Oh my god.
And so this is all the money I'd saved from like working in like New York.
Yeah.
And like to get it into that form of hundreds like without being like sketchy, because I had like 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s. I was rolling around 2 days before I was moving back to Seattle with $10,000 in a black like bodega bag, going to banks and just being like, hey, could you turn this into $1,000? And I went to like 10 different banks.
Yeah, yep. Because it can't look like,
well, it's
can't be a red flag.
Right, and then at the very end of it, I realized like, man, I'm rolling around with 10 grand right now. I hope
That's
no
pretty
one
awesome though, if you
takes
think
my
about it.
little bodega.
It takes a long ass time to save $10,000.
It did, and that's why.
And that's a hard. I actually commend you for doing that, because most people cannot save money.
No, not at all.
Saving money is not a thing any millennial it has in their blood. Like, it's not a thing.
Okay, so you joke about being like this like 24-year-old grandma, basically.
I am a grandma. Proud of it. I'm a grandma.
All right, like how you're on your grandma meter?
I'm pretty high.
You did?
No.
Okay,
So I'm not there yet.
Do you macrame?
No.
What's the most grandma thing you do?
Just chill at home at night and deny requests to go out. I'm like, but my bra's already off. Like, my dog's already gone to the bathroom. Like, nope, I'm posted up. But other than that, I guess I'm not much.
Do you chill under blankets a lot?
A lot. I have like 5. And fun fact, my dog loves my blankets too, but I have this weird obsession with buying things that look like my dog. So my dog's like this 4-pound, like, little, oh my god, I love her so much I could literally just squeeze her. But I buy blankets, pillows, bean bag. She has a bean bag, and it all looks like her. And I had no idea I was doing it until when my sister came over, and I had gotten these like 2 new pillows for my like sofa. And my dog's like this cream white, and she's like half poodle, half Maltese. So it's kind of like a wave. Like, it's not like, of course, my hairdresser. I'm like, she has the most perfect wave, but it's not curly. And so like everything I own, if she sits on it, you can literally.
So
like, if you came over and she was sitting on the couch, you might, or on the little pillow, you might not know that she was there.
If I came into your house, I would actually notice this very unusual pattern of everything looking like your dog.
Yeah, cream and like kind of wavy and fluffy, and it's really I didn't notice it, and then I got really embarrassed, and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna embrace it.
Okay, well, maybe you have the same story as I do. Okay, so
I just love my dog.
So when I was like 23 and like 24, somewhere around that area, people had started to either go for their master's degrees. Yeah. Okay, so just for the background.
I have some people doing that.
We both got into the industry really young. Yeah. I got in at 19.
And I started beauty school. I graduated from high school in June, turned 18 in August, and then started beauty school in September. So I was a baby. I had no idea what I was doing. I was terrified on Capitol Hill in Seattle.
How much did you pay for school during that time?
I think I paid around $20,000. All said and done. But I also paid for commutes across the bridge in tolls, which ended up being in like $2,500.
How seriously did you take beauty school when you first went into it?
I definitely was really excited. Like, I was really, really excited. It was also a really hard time in my life because all my friends went to 4 years. Like 4-year universities, and I had a boyfriend at the time that went to play baseball in Oregon, and like my best friend went to Wazoo, and everybody kind of left Redmond, so I was like all down, like on myself, like wow, I'm just going to beauty school, so I was really excited, but also like I was like not 100%, definitely wasn't 100% that this is what I wanted to do. Like, I knew I loved it, but I always thought in the back of my head, like, okay, if beauty school doesn't work out, I can pay for school using my degree. You know what I mean? Like or pay for like a 4-year, or like, business comm or whatever that looked like by doing
So
hair.
there were other viable options for you
There totally were other options that always were there, for sure.
Okay, because on my end of the table, it was pretty much like, I'm in New York. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. This 60-year-old Jewish dude told me to buy a Blackberry Pearl with all the savings that I had, and said,
a Blackberry.
It's one of these things.
I actually thought about getting one of those, by the way, because
what?
They're so convenient if you think about it.
What, is like a bat phone?
Or the Blackberry?
Yeah, as a main phone or like a bat phone?
Just like my work phone. Like, because it's so fast, and I don't know, I used to have a Blackberry and I loved it. I've actually thought about that. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you. So you were in New York.
Yeah, so this dude had basically just been like, it's one of those things where he's just like, Erin, I promise if you buy a Blackberry Pearl, I will make, he's like, I'll make you so much money. It's like one of these things where I'm just like, I'm so young and I'm so ignorant and I'm just like,
oh, okay.
I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't have been more right.
Yeah.
And,
that's so cool.
So,
but you thank him every day for that.
Yeah, you know.
He was one of those people that just.
It was one of
like a turning point for you.
It was a really tough love situation the way I got into the industry because, like, every day I was yelled at and berated.
Yeah.
In the kind of way that, like, if you were a parent watching me go through what I was going through.
Yeah.
You would have a bad feeling. You know, you would be like...
You'd be like, something's not right about this, or...
Because your parents would just be like, dude, why don't you just go, like, work, like, a nice retail job, try to survive in New York.
Yeah.
But that was the thing in New York when I got there, was that when I dropped out of UW and I went over to New York, I had that epiphany where I was just like, you know what, I didn't come here to survive.
Yeah.
I came here to actually do some
good...
some cool shit, just something that was out of this world that I couldn't possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So I was making, I mean, $50,000 when you're 19. I guess it's okay.
That's a lot of money, but you're in New York.
You're in New York.
So $50,000 is all relative to where you're living, I feel.
But I got that same feeling of being comfortable again.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know, I didn't want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I wanted to be, like, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so then I was just, like, my job, like, I walked out and my boss, I told her, like, hey, so I'm quitting right now and
I'm done.
I'm gonna go and I'm late to a party, so...
I'm not coming back.
Yeah, and she's like, she's one of those things, she's like, you know you're never gonna be allowed to step foot in here again. Like, the threats start coming, and I was just like, that's okay.
That's fine. That's where I'm at.
And it's a weird thing when they kind of like, when retail people kind of like tell you that your life is basically over. Yeah. When you're 19 and you're walking out on a job, you're like,
well, that's because they're stuck there.
That's because they're stuck there, right?
They want you to be stuck there with them.
Yeah, they want you to be in their misery.
Yeah, they do. Misery loves company.
For sure. And it's like, so going back to you is like, you grew up in kind of that same environment that I did where like you didn't really, like you said, your boyfriend was away, your friends were away, so that's a really hard mental state to get through. So how did you get through school? Like, you know what I mean? And, step number one, how did you get through school and like take it seriously and actually graduating? Because $20,000 is a lot to sink into school.
It is a lot. It's definitely a lot. My parents let me live at home, and they put a roof over my head, paid for my insurance, you know, medical insurance. They gave me food, you know, they helped me so much on that end.
Right.
But financially, I mean, school is my deal, right? Like, that was my $20,000. It was in my name. And I guess it was kind of the first, like, well, if I don't do it, it's not going to fucking get done. If I don't do this and I don't finish, I'm still going to owe the $20,000.
Right.
Because that was the deal. If you go, you know, like, once you enroll, even if you leave, like, you owe the school that much money. Like, it's not, you know, you go make it through halfway through school and then you owe $10,000. That's not how it works. So, you know, halfway through, I was like, I was definitely really depressed. I was really, really lonely. And then my boyfriend broke up with me. And it was this really nasty time in my life.
Did you cry?
And, totally meltdowns. I mean, I remember, like, crying in the shower and just being, like, delusional and, like, watching Grey's Anatomy until I, like, was blue in the face. But I think there was a clicking moment where it was, like, I realized that I had a talent. And I always tell everybody, I'm like, the moment that, so going back. The moment shears were put in my hands, not a clicking moment as a hairdresser.
Right.
The moment I had a bleach brush and a foil comb in my hand.
Right.
Mind blown.
Really?
Like, totally. Like, it wasn't cutting. It wasn't that side. And I always say, like, if I could just not cut hair ever again, I totally would. I'm great at it. I love it. I love doing it, but it's not my favorite. It's definitely not my passion, but there's money in both. There's convenience for my clients in both, and I think it's part of what makes you, like, my craft is doing both, right? Like, they go hand in hand.
Sure.
Like, cutting hair, you have to color it so that it's going to look good when it's cut, you know?
Right.
So it definitely goes hand in hand, but the moment that I started foiling hair, it was like, whoa, I'm good at this. I'm really, really good at this.
Like,
and
surprisingly,
surprisingly good, totally. And so when people in my class needed foils, I would foil them. You know, like I was, you know, I just feel like every class in beauty school, they always have that person that's good at that, really, really good at that one thing. And like foiling was like totally my niche. And growing up in Seattle, it's really hard to find somebody that does good blondes. Like, really hard, I think. It's hard to find somebody that wants to take the time, because doing a blonde in Seattle is different than doing a blonde in California. Number one, it's dark as hell here. You don't get, your natural hair color doesn't grow in lighter. So you have darker hair to start with initially, right? And so there's that.
That's really interesting.
You know,
so you take climate into like an actual...
Oh, 100%. If I did hair in California or Arizona or Florida, blonde would be so much easier, because your clients spend so much more time out in the sun, right? So that natural hair color that grows in after, you know, they come back 2 months after their appointment, it's light, right? It's lighter, because they spent time outside, they spent time in the sun. And so your starting base to lift to that platinum blonde is already 2 or 3 levels lighter. Do you see what I mean? Or there's already like that natural...
That's not even a variable that I even really consider.
Yeah, like there's not that natural sun-kissed foil looking natural that you have to work with. Like people like, so for me, for example, my hair's teetering on brown, right? Like the top of it is like, I've got a light brown, light kind of dark blonde. Underneath, however, shit's black. In my life, you know, like it's super dark. But if I were to live in California, if I lived in Arizona, those couple hours of sun every day would make the world of a difference. So anyways, going back, yeah, it does. It totally matters. And it makes it harder because people have darker hair naturally here. You know, they don't spend that time in this. And, you know, so say I do somebody's blonde before summer, I'm able to see them in 3 months instead of 2 months, because they spent so much time out in the sun that it's just kind of naturally blending, right? You're getting that brightness from the sun, your roots that are going in are being lifted a little bit, they're brightening up, and then come, you know, I do the hair in September, they want to be back in like 6-7 weeks.
Gotcha. So the equation of color seemed to really make sense to you in the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, definitely was what clicked for me.
So when you got out of school, and I'm sure you felt empowered by that.
Yeah, I think I felt really good. I felt really excited. And I also went to a really good beauty school. I mean, I paid cream of the crop money for cream of the crop education.
And you felt like you actually got your money's worth.
Oh, totally. Which is a huge, that's for a whole nother day. Like, like investing in your education, couldn't do anything better for yourself. Right,
because there's a lot of circumstances where a lot of people pay a lot of money and they feel like they almost get nothing out of it.
I didn't feel that way with Gary Manuel. I did not at all. I felt like it was a really good, you know, their teachers were really hands-on. Most of their teachers were still in the salon downtown. So they were still practicing, and, you know, they were still bringing their new, you know, the stuff that they've learned in the salon that day, and they were bringing it back to us in the classroom, which was, I think, a huge reason why I loved, you know, why I loved learning from them, was because it's not this old, frumpy, you know, lady that's like, goes home and chills with their cats and is a grandma. You know, these educators were totally still hands-on.
And there's some schools, like one that I'm thinking in particular, I won't name the location or the place of it, but it's an absolute free-for-all. And it's one of these things where it just...
it's just a mess.
It looks like a homeless shelter.
It's a mess.
It's
sometimes.
kind of insane.
Yeah, it is. And so that was also one of the hard things, was trying to choose where to go, because at the time I really wanted to go to Paul Mitchell, but that was in Spokane, and I didn't want to go over there. I know. Yeah, I'm born in Spokane.
You were born in Spokane?
Yeah, I'm a Spokompton baby. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, so for those that don't
Spoklahoma,
understand the geography of Washington, we have Forks, which rains 300 days out of the year.
Yeah.
And have you been to Forks?
Yeah, I have. It's terrible.
It's like, they have like Chinese restaurants. So that's where Twilight was essentially like based out of.
Yeah.
They have Chinese restaurants with pictures of vampires on them.
Yeah, it's so yeah. So you have Forks,
so ridiculous.
and then you have Seattle.
And then you have the Cascade Mountain Range.
That like divides.
Shout out to Tim's Chips. But then like
yes.
you have
everything over.
Yeah, and it gets really hot.
It gets really hot and gets really snowy in the winter.
So we have that shit. It's called the Okanagan effect, where like the clouds, they basically rain all over us, and then on the other side of Washington, it's essentially a desert.
Yeah, but that's where Spokane is. That's where Spokane is, and shout out to all my Spokane homies. But thank God for my mother for getting us out of there.
Oh my God, you're close to the Tri-Cities and stuff. That's insane.
Yeah. So.
Well, actually, one of Washington's best salons is out in Spokane.
Oh, I bet.
You know Jazz?
I never heard of it.
Oh, there's a woman out there named Sana Brado, and she won.
She pretty good.
Yeah, she won NAHA for a contemporary classic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's a boss. She's killing it.
That's cool.
So when you got out of school, like this is what I see in the world, and this is something that actually, this is the reason why I wanted to talk to you, is because this makes me really sad when I see this.
Yeah.
When I see kids coming out of school and it doesn't matter what they got, a master's in or a degree in. Let's start off with real education. When they come out and they're looking for college. When they come out of college, they have a degree, but they're saddled by so much debt that it's like always so hard for them to get out of. And schools are only getting more expensive.
Yeah.
And so the hairstyling world, it's the same thing. People come out of school, they're saddled with so much debt.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was 19, I wasn't making very smart decisions. I was making a lot of very instinctual decisions.
Yeah.
So for you, like as soon as you got out, what was your thought process?
Well, I feel like my thought process of getting out of beauty school and moving on.
Well, what was your plan?
I feel like this is one of those things that you cannot teach people.
Right.
What I'm about to say is I just have that fight or flight in me always. Like that is just something that I feel like I was totally born with. That fight or flight, make the right decision. I am one of those annoying ass people that I'm not kidding, I don't have it in me to make a wrong decision. Like it's not, I have it in me all the time, like little things. But like, it drives my boyfriend crazy. Like he'll be in the car driving, I'm like, that's illegal! That's illegal! And he's like, Adrienne, and I'm like, it's fucking illegal. Like, so for me getting out of, it's really annoying, but I don't think it's something you can teach. That ability to just know that it's right and just kind of do it. Like, I feel like it's a good thing, but it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like it's got its pros and cons. But after beauty school, I didn't really have the option to not make money. To be honest, I didn't have an option to go and be a assistant or to further my education in the hair world.
Right.
The way it worked at my beauty school was they had Gary Manuel, which is where I went, and then Gary Manuel, the salon downtown, and they had a 3-step process getting in to be a full-time stylist.
Which, do you think that's a trap for a lot of people?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I think Gary Manuel is an amazing route for people who have the time and the ability.
Why didn't you take that route versus where you went to go work for a salon instead?
I went to go work for a mom and pop because at Gary Manuel you start out lower pay.
Right.
And it was also across the water, so I would have had to commute, which meant more time, more money. I had a POS car.
Oh my God, you had to take the ferry?
No, I meant across the water.
Okay, across the bridge.
No ferry.
I was like, oh my God.
No, but I would have had to go across the bridge and have to get into Seattle, and you didn't make very much money in the beginning, and I needed money. I needed to start making money. I needed to start paying. You know, I didn't.
Was year one somewhat lucrative, or was year one kind of just like a wash where you're like, this is hard, I'm not making very much money, or were you doing better?
What do you mean?
Because usually when people get out in like year one, they're trying.
Oh, year one. Oh my god.
Year one looks so painful to you.
Year one as a hairdresser could make me cry. I'm not even kidding you. I might get all emotional on you. It fucking sucks. Excuse my French. If any of my family is watching this, I'm sorry. It freaking blows. If you don't want to totally give up and end your career year one as a hairdresser, you're not doing it right. You're not learning enough. You're not pushing yourself. You are not exploring the industry. You are not,
wow.
You're not doing it right, in my opinion. And that's my opinion, and that's, you know, one person in this big old industry, but it sucks. You work a lot. You work 10-hour days. You bear your heart out. You try and make people so happy. You're still learning, for God's sakes. You've only been in school for a year, you know. You work Saturdays, which means you can't go out and get drunk and party with your friends on Fridays. And in my case, which the most lucrative and most important, vital part of growing my career was working Sundays. I worked Sundays. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
I worked Sundays for 4 years. I worked Saturday, Sundays for 4 years. I lost a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends didn't understand. They didn't sympathize with the fact that I didn't have weekends off. I can't go out and party. I'm sorry if it's your birthday. I get up at 7 to look good for my clients so I can wear my brand and do good hair all day. Like, it was fucking hard. It sucked. Year one was terrible. Nobody understood.
A lot of people aren't... Okay, so you were 19 now, right?
Mm-hmm. I just turned 19.
So a lot of people aren't willing to make that kind of sacrifice, because I see a lot of girls just being like, you know what? I would rather have my life than work on my career at this point.
But
it's so vital, though, in the beginning with hair.
It's so vital that you push yourself and that you really work hard. In year one makes or breaks it. I feel like it's kind of like that fresh mold for who you're gonna be. But you know, that just makes me sad that there's girls out there like that, because
I guess if you had
not sad. But it makes me wonder, like, do they have female role models that are there to teach them, that are there empowering them? My mom's a badass. My mom has raised 4 kids, still in the thick of raising the youngest 2. My dad walked out on us. She put herself through Gonzaga and Spokane. I mean, she is a badass. And I took that, and ran with it. And I had a role model that never gave up. So for me, I had that, and it makes me sad that in year one a lot of people don't push themselves and don't have that backbone like I did for my mom.
Right.
You know, and my mom's been my backbone through a lot of big changes that I've made in my career.
Sure.
And so she's been there, but it makes me sad that there's women out there like that are young, 19, 20-year-olds that, you know, don't push themselves year one or kind of give up on themselves, because it makes me wonder, like, do they have that? You know what I mean? Like, do they have somebody there pushing them?
If you had to give any advice to people in year one and how critical it is to being able to go forward, what advice would you give them? Just hang in there.
Just hang in there. Learn to love your clients. Learn to make them your friends. They're your friends. They want to be your friend. They love you. You love them. You know, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up, man, and you're gonna fuck up some people's hair. But I'm just thinking back to all the women that I'm picturing in my head. I just wish I could call and say sorry. Find your niche, man. Find your niche and run with it.
That's true.
Find something that makes you happy, because that's what you're going to be doing. Those are the clients that are going to start to be in your chair. You know, those are who you're gonna. That's the time where you're building your brand for yourself. You know, but.
So was your brand at this time color?
Color for sure. I was not good at cutting in the beginning.
Right.
Not good, but I was very clear that I needed more practice and more education and further education on cutting. Yeah, it was not something that came natural to me.
So would you almost like recommend for a lot of people going through year one to focus intensely on color? Because there's a big shift in the industry thought right now where a lot of people are going for color because there's more money in it.
There is more money in it, 100%. There's more money, but clients like to be able to come and have it be a one-stop shop.
Right.
They don't like to be able to schedule different appointments with different people. I mean, some people do, but most of the time I find that my clients like to be able to just come and know that they're getting their hair colored and cut. I think the most important thing year one is to just work your ass off. And I hate to say that because it sucks, but it helps so much. Year 3, year 4, year 5, going in on year 6. And
the friends you lost in year 1, did you ever get them back? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you eventually got them back. It was just in the very beginning, it was like, fuck.
I just feel like there was a gap, you know? There was a gap and people just didn't understand, and it wasn't until I met my boyfriend that I kind of got some insight on it, like why. It just helps to have somebody else to kind of, to see myself through somebody else's eyes, like, it definitely helped having him explain to me, like, you know, not everybody's like you. Not everybody can choose to just make the right decision and get up in the morning and go to work, you know, and but oh yeah, I got my friends back, and I think it's made us stronger, and I think as people have gotten further in their careers, they've realized that it takes hard work, and I was at 18 and 19 where people are at now because they're done with school and they've been working for a year, 2 years in their industry, and I think that at some point there's like a clicking moment where you're like, oh my god, I do have to work really hard, you know? So I guess I was just kind of patient, and I had to take a step back and be like, you know what?
So, you know, moving on into year 2.
Yeah.
What was the biggest difference that you noticed from year 1 to year 2, or was it still kind of that?
Year 1 to year 2, I feel like it all kind of blended together. I definitely felt more confident, and I felt myself being more comfortable with like verbiage with clients, with, you know, the reality of like, you ensure your next paycheck by pre-booking people out, like that kind of stuff, like the logistics of being a hairdresser and how to be successful. But I still like feel like year 1 and year 2, like it was a total growing process, but I feel the biggest shift was year 2 to year 3. And we had somebody come in who was she's like a therapist, you know, she would come and help teach us about like how to deal with people. And
wait, what? In the salon?
Yeah, she's
She's a salon therapist?
Well, she wasn't a therapist for us to like talk about our problems.
No.
She came in and she had like one day, she had us go into different salons to like get the salon feel and like ask them questions and, you know, stuff like that. Like, kind of to help us put us back in client mode again. Or like she taught us about like introverts versus extroverts, like how that is in your chair. Like, I have people that don't want to look at themselves in the mirror. I have people that don't want to look at me, you know, because they're uncomfortable, because they're introverts. They don't like making eye contact. Like, we're making eye contact, right?
Yeah, but like, when you're cutting their hair, they don't want to see
they're
you.
Introverted. They're that's their personality, right? So she was really great with helping us, but she and Brianna, my owner, had us write down on a check, like, what is like our ultimate number that we want.
On a real check.
On a real check, like, you know, put it in, write it in. What do I want a paycheck to look like? And it was like, ding. I remember we did this, and it was like a freaking snowball effect. I had this. I would open my, you know, in my little station where I did hair. Every day I would open it up and I would look at it. Like, there it is. Or I don't remember if it was there. Sometimes we had them posted in the back. But then I had one in my car. And it was like always chilling right there, you know. And obviously, like, we waited it out and all that. But I remember the next month I bought my new car. And it just clicked. It was like, I'm going to have to work my ass off. I'm going to have to work really hard, but I want that number. Like, that number was like watching it, you know.
You have a very different experience from what it sounds like a lot of people go through very young.
Yeah.
it's like I said, one of those things where people they take their lives as their priority versus building their careers. And I think like as far as hair goes, I think it's hard for a lot of people to accept in the beginning. This is your career. This is if you're doing hair. Yeah. This is your career, and you can decide how seriously or not you want to take it.
Well, because it's a trade, right?
Exactly.
It's a trade. I didn't go to a 4-year, you guys. I don't have a 4-year degree. This is my career, and I do a trade. And that's a really hard thing for people, I think, to be confident about. Like, I do a trade for a living. You know, I'm not a badass lawyer or something like that. But
I don't think you want to be.
I don't think I want to be either. But, you know, I think that accepting that you're going to be a hairdresser, you know, there's a certain connotation that goes with it, for sure. Because trades aren't necessarily promoted. Like, when I told everybody I was going to hair school, I felt like, I didn't feel like a failure, but I definitely didn't feel confident.
Did people give you a lot of support when you said that, or did they kind of almost be like,
No, you know? I think that they were like, oh, that's cool, moved on, you know? More like, okay, that's great. I don't think it was anything. I think a lot of people stayed and went to community college, too, so, you know, it's kind of like I was in the same like little category, you know?
Well, to be fair, at least, you know, my parents thought I was a drug dealer.
Right?
Because I was in New York, and they're just like, wait, what?
Like, how are you making your money?
Exactly. And like trying to explain to your like parents that like you sell scissors. Yeah. That makes no sense.
No.
They're like,
that
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Nope. Especially immigrant parents.
And you weren't a hairdresser.
I actually wasn't. But
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not a hairdresser, but you're selling scissors. Like, that's. I'm sure that they were like, what?
They were more confused. The way that
they were more confused.
The way my dad. Okay, so this is the only like way I don't think I've ever told the story, but like the one way like I managed to like convince my dad that this was a real thing was he went out with me one day and he was like, I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna show you what I do, and I got like my suitcase with me and he was just like.
He's like, oh God, here we go.
I was like, this dude's full of shit. So we go to this first salon in Woodinville.
Yeah.
And he comes into the salon and he's just saying like, Aaron, I'm going to sit down and act as a salon, act as a yacht manager, boss watching over you.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's sitting down, and the first woman is just like, I love these. I want these too. How much do you want? And I'm just like, let's do it for $400. She's like, okay. She has a checkout. She's like, who do I make it to? And this is the moment where I realized I got my dad, because I looked at him and I was like, how about you make it to my boss? His name is C.U.Co. And so I had the check in his name. And so after it was over, I hand my dad the check. And I'm just like, it's your money, not mine. And that really blew his mind up. Because he was, at that moment, we jumped in the car, and it was a Bank of America check. And there's a Bank of America right down the street. And he was just like, quick, let's go check, you know, cash check, so nothing bad can happen. He just thinks that like the money's gonna disappear.
Yeah.
And so he cashes the check and he has $400, and he's just like, oh my God. And then like we go to the next one, and we're going to a black barber shop, and it's Chop It Up. It's not hood, but my dad's perception of it is that it's very hood.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Dad, we're in Woodinville. We're in a rich suburb. And so we go in. Yeah. And there's this black guy, and I have these black shears with me, and he sees them, and he's just like...
The black ones?
Yeah, he's like,
I love the black ones.
He's like, oh man, this is the shit right here. You know, this is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you I'm going to do right now.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to pay for these right now. I'm going to pay for them. So he takes out this band. My dad's, he doesn't see bands of cash.
No.
He doesn't understand that.
No,
like,
he
culture.
doesn't understand.
So this guy just rips out like 2 bills and puts it on the table, and he's like, this is the next plan that I'm going to tell you I'm going to do. On this back right here, you see, I'm going to wrap all black everything.
Oh my God.
And that's when Jay-Z's song came out.
Yeah.
And then my dad came out, like, afterwards out of the salon, and he was like, did he buy black scissor because he was black? And I was like, Dad, I hate to say it, but yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Dad, yeah.
What you saw was accurate, and then like so we got
your cute dad sounds so cute.
So we had $600 in like 45 minutes, and then that's when my dad realized that like this was a real thing.
Yeah.
He was like, "This is crazy."
So at that point, which were you selling?
That was year 2.
Moto?
Yeah. So that was year 2 for me.
Okay.
So that's when I realized that the possibility of this thing, like it's the same way that you had the foil, and you had like all that.
Yeah.
I realized that like the hybrid of like being able, you know, of being a salesman.
Yeah.
But also, the thing that really resonated with scissors with me in the beginning.
Yeah.
Was the very fact that everyone was paying so much money and not getting what they wanted, and that killed me. And it's like
same thing with me with hair.
Because like you know,
it's like you're paying for a service, but you're not getting what you want.
Because you know how you talk about like working hard, like your mom's a badass, and you have people that like that's what kind of like drove you.
Yeah.
For me, I get so infuriated by injustices. That's just something in the world. I don't know what triggers it out of me.
I have to agree with you on that.
But injustices is something that just absolutely ripped me apart. Like whenever I see a kid, there's not a lot of stuff where I get pretty visceral about.
Yeah.
But when I see like kids get bullied, I get this like feeling that comes over.
Like rage.
Because I've never been bullied, but like I get this feeling of rage.
You only be,
where I just want to like take the other kid and just like throw him on the ground and just be like, who the hell do you think you are?
I know. Yeah. I know. I'm terrified to have kids because I'll beat them up. Not my kids, the other ones.
You're gonna kick ass.
Stay away from my kid, dude.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna be a tough mom.
So your dad finally realized.
He finally realized. So
yeah.
So jumping back into you with year 3 and year 4, you had the checks that you were visualizing and stuff, and then I'm sure it all started.
No, I didn't have those yet.
It didn't come true yet.
No, come true yet. No, I didn't start making those till I came here.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like, ooh,
okay,
double.
So this is what I want to get into with is because like you were working at a salon.
Yep.
And
commission
in a salon, which is a very typical situation. And
yes, it is.
It's I feel like right now there's a big shift in the industry where the salon culture is disintegrating.
I feel the same way, yeah.
And explain it from your perspective.
Okay. I'm not gonna name names, not gonna call people out.
No.
Of course. But my experience to start with in a commission salon was really great. I had the most amazing mentor, and I talked to you about her.
Sure.
She taught me that my clients are not a dollar sign. They are not just people that come in and pay your bills.
Right.
These people have feelings. They are real humans. They have jobs and families when they walk out the door. She taught me about color, about the art of finishing out a service with an amazing blow dry and styling them when they leave. You know, she taught me about just the art of hair as a whole, you know, and what it meant to be as a hairdresser. And in the beginning, I wasn't making a bunch of money. You know, I was minimum wage, and then eventually it grew. And as the salon grew, things change and dynamics change, and it's a lot of women in one area, and it's a lot of personalities, and
that sounds so insane.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but eventually you feel a change. Like, you feel yourself as a hairdresser, like...
So you're 21 now, right?
Yeah, probably 21.
And you're the youngest person. You were the youngest person by far in your salon.
Everybody had kids. I was like, totally like, bottom of the barrel.
Did you even care about going out and drinking at this point? Because now, like...
Yeah, I did. I wanted to be, like, have more of a social life. And even now, like, owning a business, I feel like I gyp myself a little bit on that aspect, but at the end of the day, it's not really what I desire, to go out and get wasted and, you know, black out and be hungover the whole next day. Like, that's just not something I fancy. But at that point, I felt a big switch, and I I remember feeling like, okay, I feel a little bit more like an adult. Like, I feel like a little bit, like, I just started to feel a little bit more mature. The things I would talk to my clients about kind of evolved and grew. And so at that point, I definitely felt myself wanting to make more money, especially being from here. Like, cost of living goes up, and it's just been crazy. And so, you know, being commission, you tap out. You totally tap out financially.
Right.
You're on somebody else's clock. You're on somebody else's time. You're on somebody else's pay scale. You have to follow instructions. You have to use the color they're using, or, you know what I mean? You're so confined. And with the line I was using and the color I was doing and all of that, I definitely felt myself like desire for more. And that's when I decided to look into other options. And I don't know if I cashed in all my good juju, but places like this don't come available very often where we are here in the studios. And I knew I wasn't gonna move from commission to commission. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna, because I have a lot of clients. I mean, my client following is pretty big. I could work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still not be able to get everybody in.
Were you very consistent in when you got a new client that you retain them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But you also, yes, absolutely. But I feel like with clients, returning clients are gold. You can't. You know what I mean? Like, your regulars, you cannot forget about them just because you got new people coming in.
What is the secret to that? Because I feel like a lot of people really suck at that, dude.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know. I feel like you just gotta love them. And that goes back to where my boss taught me that they're not a dollar sign.
Right.
You gotta throw in free stuff every once in a while. You gotta give them a free Olaplex treatment, or you gotta make sure you remember that their Aunt Sally had shoulder surgery and it was actually cancer, and you need to ask about Aunt Sally 3 months from now when Bob comes in. You know, that kind of stuff.
Do you almost feel like hair gets to this point where it's just like sometimes it almost feels like the service you're offering is the secondary product, but the primary product itself is that they want to spend time with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like they're my friends. They're totally my friends. Like, 100%. I go to Christmas parties with them. I go take classes with them. One of my clients turned into one of my friends who we went to a Kevin Hart concert. Like, these are your people you spend all your time with. I spend more time with these women than I do my fiance.
So you have fun with your clients.
Yeah.
Oh,
hell yeah. We talk about the nitty gritty. Yeah, they probably know if I'm top or bottom. Like, we talk about everything.
Guys, this is the key. You have to have fun with the people you're around no matter what.
Yeah, you gotta have fun. You do it all day, every day. It's what you gotta love it, you know? And it's not for the weak. The hairdressing is not for the weak. The hardest days are like the days that I go home, and one of my clients yesterday, last time I saw her, she was pregnant. What do you think happened when she came in yesterday?
She miscarried?
Yeah, she was pregnant.
Damn.
Cried in my chair. I cried. You know, I went home and I was like, oh my God, this is real. This is her life. She just shared something with me that's her life, you know, or just made me so sad. When I saw her and she didn't have a belly, I was like, what? You know, people let you into their lives, and I think that's partially, you know, what makes it hard is you are subject to the harsh realities of the world being a hairdresser.
Right. Your
anxiety is heightened because you are hearing about all this stuff. You know, I read this quote once, and I can't remember what it says verbatim, but it was like, clients tell their hairdressers things that they wouldn't dare confess to a priest, that they are not honest with their doctors, you know, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Like, we are we have it, we hear it, we are trusted. I don't know if you read, one of the states is requiring hairdressers to get certified or continuing education in domestic abuse. They're requiring, I think it's like one of the flyover states like Michigan or Iowa or something.
Sure.
But they're requiring hairdressers to become knowledgeable in how to identify domestic abuse. Because we hear about it.
Right.
Like, we take this stuff home with us. So, yeah, you gotta love it, but you gotta love it because people love you. They love coming here, you know? It's like a fresh new start for them every 8 weeks when they come in.
Right. I feel like you can be a little more personal when you have basically your own sort of like salon suite versus being in a salon, because I think the last thing people want to do is melt down in a salon.
Yeah.
And you know, everything that you were describing in a salon, from like the way that like color and like everything, do you think there is a way that a salon could be run better?
Of course, we all do. Like, are you kidding? Hairdressers are our own brand of people. Yeah, I think it could be run better. There's got to be a way to do it. I think.
Or do you feel it's just almost like reached this point of stagnation where it's just like
I don't feel like it's reached that point. I feel like there's got to be some in between, because owning your own business and running your own, these spaces that we're in, there's such a responsibility. Like, I always tell everybody, I'm like, I wear all the hats. I'm the cleaner, I do the laundry, I do the bills, I buy my product, I do the freaking hair, which is full time.
Right.
40 hours minimum a week behind the chair. I pay taxes, you know what I mean? I do all of that.
Right.
I have a hat on at all points. There's gotta be a way to have it in between. But I don't know what that is, so I'll get back to you on that. I haven't figured that out. But for what it's worth, I think that these spaces are amazing. I think that, and I know with my whole heart that it has given me the opportunity to become incredibly close with my clients and further my education when, how, where I want to build a brand for myself and be more independent. But I do miss being a part of a salon. Like, I miss having a salon family and having people that understand and that you can rely on, who are there and live it with you, because these spaces are great, but we're all our own entity. We don't have, they're not here, they're seeing and hearing our conversations, and you know what I mean? It's, we all do our own thing and we talk and we mingle, but we're not one entity. We're all separate. So I definitely miss that part of it, and that makes me really sad. Because I love that. I miss that. Like, I miss having big Christmas parties where we would all go out, or big holiday parties, or on Easter, you know what I mean, coming in and the owner would have baskets, you know, she'd make us each a basket. Like, I miss that for sure. So there's totally pros and cons to these small spaces versus big ones.
So essentially right now you're on year 6, right?
Yeah.
You're on year 6. You and I both are on year 6.
I love it.
And
we're on year 6, buddy.
We're on year 6.
We
made it this
freaking
far.
did it.
So I guess the question for you is like, dude, you're at year 6 and you're 24 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 29, dude. But being at 24, I remember exactly where I was. What comes next for you? Because seriously, like, I have another client where she's also the exact same age.
Yeah.
And the amount of money she's making is just stupid. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's addicting.
And
the money is addicting.
So
I'll tell you that. It's hard to give that up.
So you're reaching a point now where it's just like, you're 24.
Yeah.
Dude, you're making more money than probably all your friends, for the most part.
I mean,
you're coming close, and it's going to be more and more and more.
Yeah.
So, do you want to continue hair for like the next decade or the next 2 decades? Because you're so young, Adrienne.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to have kids, for sure. I want to have kids. My boyfriend and I, we both want kids.
So is it a realistic possibility for you to go like 10 years and then housewife it out?
I mean, hey babe, where you at? You making that money? I don't think I will ever not be able to work. I'm not one of those people that will stay home with my kids.
No, you're a worker.
I am not one of those kids. To be a good wife, to be a good mother, to be a good Adrienne to myself, to be a good friend, I need to have something. I will not be good by myself at home. I would lose myself. But there's got to be something more than behind the chair.
Right.
I feel like.
So you.
It also is taking a toll on my body. You're 6. Your body hurts.
Right.
Your body's tired. Your feet are tired. Your shoulders are tired. It's hard work. Mentally, I'm tired. But no, I'm not done. Hell no. The one thing I did learn was at the other salon.
Right.
She started it, and then she started having babies.
Oh. That changed the whole dynamic
Yep.
of the salon, I'm assuming.
Yep. 100%.
For better or for worse?
Worse. 100%. It scares me that because I feel like I have something bigger, like I feel like there's more for me, like I feel like I could own a salon or open up something like this.
Right.
And I feel like I know I'm not done yet, right? Like I know I'm not ready for, not ready for kids. If it happened there, it would be great because they're such a blessing, but
Right.
I'm not ready to give up myself yet. I'm not ready to stop, right? And I know that when I have kids, I want to feel ready to stop. Like I want to be able to give up half of my career so that I can stay home or whatever that it looks like, you know?
Right.
But I'm not done yet. And so that's how I know, like I always compare my career to my kids, like future kids, you know what I mean? Like, but I know I'm not done. I want to continue to grow. I don't want to just plateau.
Well, you were talking about a very cool niche and progression that I've never heard of in my life from anyone.
Yeah.
And I only imagine that it came from all of your total combined experiences.
Yeah.
And the idea that you were proposing was helping people avoid all the pitfalls if they do start young.
Yes.
Right? Or even, it doesn't even have to be young.
No, it doesn't even have to be young
If
at
they
all.
start
Just starting.
and getting through years like 1 through 3.
I would love to go back and be an educator and get my license to be a educator at a beauty school and just be hands-on and just word vomit all my information on them and just be like, yo, wake up, this is the reality, this is what you gotta do if you want to be successful. Like, just give it to them straight and so that they know. Like, I think that would be a really great really great step in continuing my career and having it not end, you know?
Right.
My clients would kill me if I stopped doing hair.
They probably
They would be like a bunch of wild banshees following me, and
they would get mad at you.
they knock down my doors. They'd be bummed. So it's not stopping for a while.
You know,
I don't think there's a point where I stop learning or like stop. I think there will be a point where I stop doing hair, and when I do, it's because of my body. It'll be because I'm tired and because my body's like, done. I can't do it anymore.
You're gonna physically take yourself to the limit.
Probably. I work long days. I work a lot.
Do you work 12-hour days, like at least once a week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At least maybe like 2 or 3.
Probably twice a week. I work 12-hour days. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But it's fun.
But you like it.
But I love it.
But you like it.
I go home and then you do what you love. You never have to work a day in your life. But yeah, I think you just always gotta be learning. You know, you gotta keep going, and there's always gotta be something else. And but here I am, that person that's a detriment. That's also where I find myself. Like, Adrienne, just stop and fucking smell the flowers that you've grown. Like, just stop and enjoy them, you know?
Do you ever think that you have no chill?
Oh, there's no chill with me. No chill. No chill. Anybody close to me is, yeah. Actually, I just went to the doctor because I've been having signs of like carpal tunnel and tendonitis in my hand. My doctor looked at me and he's like, Adrienne? And I'm like, you know, huddled over. I'm like, what, Dr. McCarty? And he's like, I told you 2 years ago when you opened your business, working 6 days a week is not good for you. And I was like, okay, thank you, you know. And yeah, so it's hard work. It's a lot.
It really is. And like, you know, one of the things that I was talking about on another podcast when I was out in Denver was talking about CBDs as a possible...
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, as a possible treatment for the industry.
Yeah.
Because I think whether you're doing hair or whether you're doing any type of service, if you're standing and working, you are annihilating your body.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
But I think it goes for the same thing too, where people are sitting in chairs with bad posture, you're annihilating your body.
I say that all the time. I'm like, I have no idea how people do that. I have no idea how people sit in chairs. Like, even this for right now, for me, like, look at my posture. It's terrible. Like, I can't imagine sitting all day, like, in a chair. That'd be terrible. No matter what you do, you don't win.
Right, well...
But, yeah, the CBD, I think that's very intriguing.
Have you messed around with CBD before?
Never.
So, you know, they sell... So, CBD basically comes in every single form.
Yeah.
You can get a CBD patch that you can put on your wrist right here. There's 2 applications that are most effective. The wrist and the ankle. So, if your carpal tunnel is, like, killing you...
Yeah.
If you put a CBD patch on right here...
Yeah.
It will not change your personality at all.
Yeah.
Your mood. I mean, it'll make you feel more relaxed, but I think it'll cure all the it'll cure all the inflammation within your wrist.
Yeah, I also was talking to my doctor, and he said it could be a pinched nerve in your shoulders.
Oh my
that's like
God.
radiating
That's
down.
even more insane.
Yeah, like it could be like stress from, you know, that comes down. But yeah, I think there will be a point where it's like you just can't. Like all of the older women in here, they've all had freaking surgeries. They've all had first surgeries on their legs, their knees, their hips, their arms, their shoulders, and it's all work related.
You are almost like kind of Korean, like the way that like if you don't let me ask you this.
I'm Korean, you guys.
She's Korean. Like when you work, and if you don't work, you feel like a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I just recently learned to lay down in bed and not complain and like enjoy Netflix. And it's also kind of addicting not doing anything. It's also really nice.
You know, that's how I actually learned all my hair cutting technique was through Netflix.
How was it?
Because I'm sitting and I'm watching, and I'm literally just sitting there doing repetition over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, they used to tell us to walk around in beauty school and like to not move your, you know what I mean? To like have it just like not have your thumb move.
Yeah.
But just this one,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Or just this one. They used to tell us to practice like hold your shears and just like. Or which one is it? It's this one.
Right.
You know, just have the bottom one move, like just your bottom one. It's so weird.
So check this out.
I'm Korean. I like that.
You are Korean. Okay, so
I'm Korean. I love it.
Because here's the thing. I don't know why it is, but like collectively as a group for Koreans, if we don't, because I think we sort of have the same thing where if we don't bust ass, we feel like a piece of shit.
POS.
And so I didn't know
Thanks,
this.
Mom, for that.
I didn't, and you know what? That might be related to it because I'm going to teach you the only Korean thing that I know. Okay. Which is this. So we have something in Korean called Han, and I think like all sort of like cultures have it, and there's like a different like word or meaning for it. But it mostly comes from persecuted cultures, or cultures of hardship. Yeah. So there's no direct translation, but basically Han. Korea's like a small peninsula. It's not very big at all, right? Like, look at how big all the other Asian countries are. Yeah. And everyone's tried to take over Korea, right? The Japanese, like, you know what I mean? Like, took, you know, our women and, like, China, like, everyone in, like, America, everyone's always trying to mess with Korea. Yeah. And so what ends up happening is that the Korean people, and this is going to sound horrible to say, but, like, from the moment that, like, you're born as a Korean person, this is what makes Han very interesting. It's not just one person in Korea, it's a whole nationwide thing. So if you were to go to Korea right now, and they're just like, oh, look at this white girl with blonde hair. Yeah. And if you start talking about Han, they would take you very seriously. Oh. Because they'd be like, how do you know about that? Okay. Because Han is this collective feeling that Koreans feel, and it comes from just years and years and years of persecution to where like everyone's just born being kind of just like, you know, just like
so uptight.
Whatever it is that's in us, that's just like makes us feel so agitated.
I have that.
You have that, yeah.
I have Han.
Yeah, you have Han, and I joke with my dad about it all.
I'm gonna tell that to my boyfriend. I'm gonna be like, I was diagnosed today with Han. You should look it up.
Yeah, he's gonna ask you in the morning, Adrienne, how's your Han today?
Yeah, I have my Han scale. I love it.
And you're gonna be like,
how uptight and crazy are you feeling today?
And so it's like, I think like, because Han's like a mixture of a lot of conflicting words, and I think confliction might be the sum of it all, but it's like this feeling of just like Koreans being like angry, like just, you know, regretful and like spiteful, but like the reason why we do it is in the hopes of a better future.
Totally,
right? Yeah. Because if you look at Koreans and stuff, it's like, it's only been like what, like 60 years, 65 years since the Korean War, or maybe less. And in all that time, look at everything that Korea has touched around the world. Yeah. It's insanity.
I think that is a really that's definitely like my thought process is like,
it's your spirit
if
animal.
I do it, it's my spirit animal, totally. But like, okay, if I do it now, I'm not gonna have to do it later, right? Like, if I work my butt off now, I mean, like right now, I would say like year up until like year 4, probably even year 5, right?
Right.
Beginning of year 5, I hit this like plateau, and I've been enjoying it. Like I've been just coasting, like riding it.
Nice.
Like I've just been like smelling the flowers and, you know, not working as hard as I did the first 5 years.
But does it feel weird?
It does feel weird. It does feel really weird, but I'm also like learning to love it and learning to embrace it. And then I know myself, and in another year, I'll be back to the grind. Like I'll be like, okay, I need to make some changes. I need to like revamp, you know, kind of work on it. But yeah, I think it's always, there's always something next. Because I think, well, number one, I think, what else am I going to be doing? Spending money and watching Netflix. Like, what kind of a life is that? Like, shopping at Nordstrom and watching Netflix. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing. Cuddling with my dog. Here we are back.
So there's only 5 possible things you could do. Be it Nordstrom's,
no, I'm just,
watch Netflix, cuddle with your dog, cut hair. It's called color hair.
Yeah.
So I can find, someone could
easily find me, yes.
Right. So in other words, like, you would be perfect for that movie Taken.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. But yeah, I think that's a journey, for sure.
Yeah, and I like I said, I think every culture has like that sort, like that their own version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I think that like there's a lot, like, if someone said like Jews and like Koreans are really similar, you'd be kind of like, what, why? And then like you look at the like history of their cultures.
Yeah,
they're very persecuted people, and this is something, it's a little off topic, but it's something I talk about where like I've come to realize this on my own, where like I'm very open-minded, but I'm also very closed-minded at the same time.
That's how I am.
So it's like when everyone was doing online dating, I was like, you know, what the fuck is everyone doing? Like, this is so dumb. But then I was like, you know what, maybe I'm being really closed-minded. I have no reason not to look at it. So I got an account. There's only 2 of them I deal with, because that's the only 2 I know about. Yeah. so I'm just like,
online dating.
So I got Tinder,
the Lord
and Bumble.
Mercy. I don't have to do that.
And it's crazy because like this is how I do it. Is like I'm just like I started doing the whole like back and forth thing. Yeah. And then I was just like, you know, I went through like 300 things, and I was just like, dude, I didn't match with anyone. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna change my strategy to just this, and like grip my feet in the ground, and just power swipe, right? Yeah. And the only people I was matching with were black women or fat black women. And I was just like, whoa, like what is going on? So then I went online and I did all the research.
What?
Yeah, check this out. So out of all male... No.
This is very interesting.
This is going to blow your mind. So okay, out of all males that are Asian, who do you think... I mean, out of all males in the dating world, when it comes to like the most successful and least successful, who do you think are the least successful for males?
I have no idea.
Asian males.
No way.
Yes, 100%.
No.
Yes.
See, that's weird.
And when it comes to women, who do you think is the most successful?
Who?
Asian women.
No shit.
So in other words, it's this whole, it's not like online dating is small, the whole world does it. So basically, it's like everyone wants to fuck Asian women and fuck over Asian men. So then again, this is where the Han thing comes in. Yes. Who do you think has the lowest success rate when it comes to women?
Asian men.
Women.
Wait, what'd you say?
Who has the lowest success rate when it comes to women?
Asian men.
Black women.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So this is what ends up happening. So in other words, the 2 least groups are Asian men and black women. So in other words, this is what ends up happening, is that like they're all matching with each other, and we'll integrate this and show this like on the screen in the podcast.
Can we also show my dog? When I talked about
yeah, we can show your dog.
Okay.
Because she has everything in her house looks like her dog, even the whipped cream.
Did we talk about that before or after we started?
Before. Oh no, we got it.
No,
on.
we got that.
We got it on there. Yeah,
Okay.
we got it on there.
It's a very important thing. My baby.
So check this out. So because again, now Asian males and black women are going through the same persecution again, but in the dating world.
Okay.
Out of all the groups of people, they are the ones that are matching the most.
Okay.
Out of everyone. And so what's interesting is like I've talked to so I've gone on dates with a lot of black women. I've talked to them.
Yeah.
And there's this kind of the
podcasting is. He's on a date and he's like, by the way, I put this podcast up. You're gonna be featured on ScissorMeNow. Dude, you're like interrogating them.
I don't hold anything back for shit, dude. So,
I know, but I'm just picturing you in this load with like your beer, wine, or whatever you drink.
Dude,
and
you
like,
want to hear one of the craziest things that ever happened?
Somebody just comes around the corner like.
Dude,
it's like he's getting really into this date.
This is like one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me, like on a date where like this black girl. She's actually awesome. She was half black, half Dominican. She was beautiful. Oh god. And she looked at me, and this was in East Louisiana, and she asked me, Aaron, I don't want to say this on our first date, but I really like you, and I was like, I don't think that's bad at all. I'm just like, wow, I'm flattered. She's like, but I only have one serious question for you. And it's just like, oh shit. So
what'd she ask?
She's like, are you Vietnamese or Asian?
Who are you?
I'm Korean, but like that's just like.
Is that not in that kind of? I don't know. I'm sorry. That's really bad of me. But like, is that Korean different than Vietnamese or Asian?
Oh yeah, it's super different. So it's like basically like being.
I'm totally looking like a dumbass right now.
No, it's good. It was just such a stunned out question. I was just like, oh my god.
So what do you say?
I told her that.
You're like neither?
I told him that I'm not Vietnamese. And she's just like, so you're Asian? And I'm like, yes, I'm Asian.
Yeah.
And then she got all stoked. She's like, see, that's what I thought. But then she actually turned out to be like one of the most like wonderful like girlfriends I ever had. Yeah. But everyone gets one question. Yeah. Everyone says one dumb thing. So I was just like, who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares, right?
Everybody does get one dumb question. Yeah.
So, but then this is what's ended up happening, is that like, so then I asked one of these black girls, I'm like, are you just like not into black men? Because like I'm definitely not into Asian girls at all.
You're not?
No. It's a weird. So I've talked to my Indian friend about this, and he's not into Indian girls at all.
No way.
Yes. So I'm like, I wonder what that is. You know?
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know. Like I can't explain it to you.
But why? That's so weird.
Okay, so it's like.
Well, I guess.
Adrienne, in my head, when you Asian girls are attracted to me. So whenever because like I'm a wild dude. You know what I mean? Like I'm like.
He's a wild boar.
I didn't go to a university, like I'm not squared out, like I'm like I do crazy shit.
Totally.
And I think crazy.
And women really like that.
So
women do like crazy.
And so like they like look at me and like they like me, but then like in my head, it's one of those weird things where you're like, man, I know she's really, really, really attractive, but I'm not attracted to her. Yeah. But I know that anyone else in this entire restaurant would. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And so then like, this is what's ended up happening. Is so then like, with the black women, I'm like, well, are you attracted to black men? And they're just like, I don't want a black man in my life. And I'm just like, what does that mean? And I think what it means to them is like, they don't want, because like some of them like, I think they're attracted, but like a lot of them turn out to not just be like good dudes, you know. But that's with every race, right? Yeah. But like for them in particular, they're just like, man, I want someone who can take care of me. I want someone, you know what I mean, that I can have like, you know, that can like all.
It's kind of weird though.
Like have like, you know, a family with and all that. So they're like, They look at it and I think they're like, what race can give me money, beautiful babies, and comfort? Yeah. Asian men. Yeah. Well, Asians are beautiful. Yeah. And so then that's what's ended up happening. So I go onto Facebook and we'll type this in, but there is 2 huge groups out there called AMBW. What's that? Asian Male Black Woman. And no joke, it is just there are 2 groups. One has like 28,000 like likes. The other one has about 18,000 likes, and it's all just like hundreds of pictures of like some like awesome like ripped like Bruce Lee motherfuckers with like black women, And then like there's some where it's just like the nerdiest Asian dudes that look like they play Counter-Strike and kill you halfway across the world from China.
Yeah.
And they're with black women. And it's just like, whoa. And so then like I started thinking about it, and I'm like, Adrienne, when you have kids, maybe not in the Pacific Northwest, but like in other parts of the country, because there aren't very many black people up here in comparison to like the rest. Yeah, in the Midwest. Yeah. So this is what's gonna happen. If your kids, when they come home one day, could potentially be coming home with a lot of Blasian friends.
Oh my god.
And here's the interesting part about it too. There's no stereotypes against Blasians.
No.
There's none. So we don't know anything about them
Weird.
yet, right? So here's the thing. There's going to be gay Blasians, there's going to be gangster Blasians, there's going to be whitewashed Blasians. You don't know what you're going to get. It's just going to be like Blasians all over the place.
I love it.
Right? And so everyone's made that joke about like, oh, the world's eventually going to be brown anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because we're all going to mix with each other.
Yeah.
But I exactly know how that's going to happen.
How?
All these Blasians are going to be born, and people are going to be like, how did it happen? And it's because why? You took the two most persecuted groups, you put them at the bottom. That's exactly what's going to happen. And then guess what's going to happen?
What?
Because people think Blasians are beautiful and have beautiful babies and whatever.
Yeah, then they're going to want to have...
They're going to
have babies with them.
They're going to have babies with all the white people.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to brown them out.
Oh my god.
So that's how the whole world's going to become brown, dude.
With my luck, I'm going to have a redheaded baby, so...
Do you have that in your genes?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you a ginger?
Mm-hmm. But my great-grandma is, like, full-blown, like, red.
Whoa.
Yeah,
like straight up?
Castilian Spanish. She tells everybody she meets.
What's your ethnic background?
I have no idea. I actually need to get one of those DNA tests done.
Oh my god.
I'll report back.
By the way...
I will. Because I'm, like, what do I look like? I don't know. I'm white.
White.
I think... what do I look like?
White.
I probably have like a lot of I'm sure I have some Irish in me because like I burn really easily. I've got really blue eyes, pretty light hair.
Are you sure you're not just like Scandinavian?
I don't know. I went to Sweden 2 years ago and I did not fit in.
Really?
The blonde hair, yes, but nothing else. Swedish people, but that's only Sweden. I don't know.
Right.
I don't look like, I look like Swede because I have blonde hair and blue eyes, but like when you go there, you don't, they're all very tall. They have a specific look too. I don't have that look.
I know what you're talking about. When I went to the Czech Republic, I was like, wow, these women, the way they carry themselves.
Yeah.
It's
very...
It's very feminine, and it's almost like they know how to be very cordial with you, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it was fun to go to Sweden.
Yeah, it's like, it's awesome. Well, I was going to tell you this. This is the funniest thing ever. So when you do those ancestry tests or whatever, be careful because those things can throw you for a loop. Because this is what ended up happening. My friend Sam.
Yeah. He's
like 29. I think he's the same age as I am.
Yeah.
And he found out that he wasn't black. He looks black. Like he looks like a black person. And he has like, you know what I mean, like nappy hair. Like he's a black person.
Yeah.
He talks like a black person.
Yeah.
And he did it only to find out that he's 100% Ecuadorian. And he's just a dark-skinned Ecuadorian person, but he talks black and he looks black.
That's cool.
And I was just like, oh my god.
That's actually really cool. Dude. I wonder what mine would say. Now I'm excited. I need to do that. But I heard you have to do a couple. Because it could be, like, whatever their pool of people is. Like, I've heard it's good to do, like, two. Like, the 23andMe and Ancestry DNA.
Right.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to not just do one and then be done.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't know what I am. That'd be interesting.
Right. Well,
I wonder if I'd come out with something crazy. Like, what if I'm Australian or something?
That could...
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be.
You know what's funny about, like, the history of the world is, like, okay, so whenever we take, like... Okay, so when the Europeans, whenever they're just like, all right, we have way too many criminals.
Yeah.
They basically build these badass boats, the Mayflower. I don't know what they set the Australians on. And then they basically just don't give us any vitamin C, so we all get scurvy.
Oh my god.
And then they send us here, and then we build these badass countries, right?
We are badasses.
And then we get the U.S. and then like they get Australia.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what they do in London? This is one of the funniest games I've ever seen in my life, where they take a pound or any. Well, actually, the queen's on everything, so they'll do it. They'll chuck it into someone's drink, and just be like, "Save the queen, she's drowning." And like everyone will just start having to fucking pound their beer. How funny is that shit?
Oh my god, I wish we could. So we could do that. Save
Lincoln.
Save Lincoln.
I think people would be more pissed. They'd be like, dude, fuck you for doing that.
Yeah, they wouldn't be down with that.
No, but it's a thing they do. It's very, like,
That's
just
so
on the
cool.
regular. I think it's an awesome little tradition that they
That's
do.
cool.
I wish we had.
Weird things like that. We're not cool enough.
Should we do like, should we just create like a Trump coin and throw it in and be like, don't drink that?
Yeah. Be like, you're done. Don't touch that.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my god, we need to figure out how to get rid of it.
I know, we really do.
But that's not for this podcast.
No, it isn't.
That would be bad. I'm trying to keep all my clients.
Yeah, I know, no.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings.
Alright, we can edit that part out.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think the one thing that I've been the reason why, like, I wanted you on this podcast and the thing that I'm very proud of you is the way you conduct and the way you handle yourself. I think there's something that's very much missing. Because I do finance a lot of, like, you know, people that are, like, early on and stuff, and I really try to give them a break and the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
wait, when you finance them.
Yeah,
well, so if people don't know what
right.
you're talking about, like.
So, for example, like 19-year-old stylists that, like, need shears and stuff.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
You financed my first pair for me.
Right, but like, I'll go with this.
Like I gave you $100, and then it was like.
That was actually really dope. That's like, you're in the 1 percentile of my clientele.
Oh my god.
Most people start off in between.
But I gave you $100, and then I paid you the other in installments. Because my first pair were.
$250.
$250, yeah.
And the price hasn't changed.
Hasn't it?
No.
Oh my god.
That's my.
Which I'm about to buy some more. If you ever need them, he's your guy.
But I'm down with that whole idea of doing the $25 a month thing because I understand what it. Here's the thing.
Well, because you're helping them, and then one day you're, 6 years later, I'm able to buy 2 brand new pairs of shears and hand over $500. But I'm going to come back to you because you helped me when I was just starting out, right?
Right. Well, here's the thing, though, is that
Too.
you're very you have a particular brand of confidence, Adrienne.
Yeah.
In your work and what you do. Right, and it honestly shows. Yeah. And
I try hard.
Both of us, like.
Sometimes I'm faking it till I make it, but
Whatever, that's life.
Aren't
dude.
we all doing that?
I do that with like
everything.
I still even do that to my parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. My mom's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm fine." And then I'm like, "I'm on the verge of a mental breakdown." She's like, "Okay, well, call me tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay." Get off the phone, sob. Yeah. Faking it.
Do you cry a lot, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's okay. Don't worry.
I'm one of those people for sure.
If you're a little bit of a crybaby, don't worry about it because I'm
a crybaby. Okay, there's a difference between crying a lot and being a crybaby. Let's just get that straight. No. I am not a crybaby. I'm a total crybaby.
I'm a fat kid.
I am a crybaby. I cry at everything. Yeah, I cry a lot. But anyways,
for someone that's incredibly composed, I would never guess that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta let it out somehow.
Yeah, it's
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been hard work, but it has been my pleasure of knowing so many people, and I just think there's something about hair and women and men too, but mostly women. It's their identity. It's what makes them feel good, I had a client last week who she was going back home and she was going to a high school reunion and something, and she was going to see her ex-boyfriend and she wanted to look really good, and I got to help her do that. I got to help her. Was
she like hoping to rekindle?
No, she just was nervous to see him or something, and I got to help her. I got to help her feel good about herself. So it is really the best job. I mean, it is such an awesome job. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I feel really lucky. Like, when people say I'm lucky to know you, I'm like, nah, dude, it's reversed. Like, I'm lucky to have you as a client, you know?
Tell me what you think about this, because I see this a lot, and this goes beyond hair. I feel like I don't meet that many on the, I feel like it should be a regular thing to where you meet people that are passionate about their jobs.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't really see that often.
I don't either, and that makes me really sad. It really does. It makes me really, really sad.
It makes me wonder, like, what happened in this, like, what happened in the world where there's this shift of consciousness where people all of a sudden, you know what I mean, their passions came second. I don't understand it.
Like, the idea of a 4-year university was just shoved down our throats. And it was like, it's the only way to be successful, it's the only way to make money, it's the only way to be happy, to live the American dream. I just read something the other day, and it was like, the American dream is like $70,000.
What?
Like...
That income?
Yes. Like, if you're making $70,000, you are living the American dream. Like, that, I read that. I don't know if that's the truth, but... I wish I had time, actually. I get online and look at this hairdresser forum that I'm on, and somebody wrote, how long did it take for you to get to 6 figures? Do you want me to pull it up? I'm going to look.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Because this is really interesting. I'm going to look it up. So they said, somebody posted on here, and they were like, I want to put it out there, and I want to know how long it took for you to get to 6 figures. The amount of people... of hairdressers that made under $50,000 was unreal.
It's shockingly very low.
Very low.
Like
very
it's
low.
a very rare thing to make 6 figures in hair. It's not common at all.
Yes.
And you already did it, dude.
Yeah. Well.
Or you're getting close. You're getting close.
I'm there, pretty much. I mean, okay. This isn't the exact post, but. How long, for hairdressers who make 6 figures, how long did it take you to achieve that goal? 7 years, which including training, etc. 8 years. I don't think that exists, does it? I can't imagine making that much doing this. It blew...
Do you think if a lot of those people had gone through the check exercise that you went through, remember how you
about the checking? Yeah.
Do you think if they would have gone through that, they would be thinking a lot differently?
Yes. Also, though, I've done this for 12 years and still only make about $50,000 on average, and that's a good year. I've worked 6 days a week for 8 of those 12 years.
So what do you think that is?
It's crazy.
Do you think that's mismanagement, or?
No, I think it's also wherever you live. I think that's also a big part of it. Like, if I didn't live in Kirkland, Washington, I don't know that I'd be making this much money. I mean... I still think I'm good at my job, and and it's an experience and people would pay for it, but I don't necessarily think I'd be making this much.
If you lived in Austin, Texas, you would be killing it.
Also, I pay a buttload to be here because it's such a freaking expensive area.
Right.
I pay a buttload just to be here, So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like miscommunication in the starting of your career or, the cost of living where you live or whatever. But that wasn't the exact post. But, I mean, you heard of that woman, 12 years, $50,000, working 6 days a week. It's crazy.
And so, one of the things that, it really makes me think about is, the amount of stress people go through. And stress is the number one thing that brings on all of the bad stuff.
It is, totally. It really, really is. Stress is a big deal, but I just think there's so many unknowns about this industry, and that's why I think it's really cool that you're going around talking to everybody, because my experience is going to be different from the next person you interview and the next person, and it's different from 5 of the people you did before, Right. Everybody's got their own journey, and it's different for everybody. Circumstances are different. But the thing I love about this job is you can take it and make it what you want. You can take it and mold it and change it and inspire people and be inspired and make people feel beautiful and make good friends and build relationships along the way. And it's just such a versatile career. I mean, I'm going to be so different from the next person, and I love that, I love that I work across from Nancy, and Nancy's such a different hairdresser than I am, you know.
Right.
I just think it's a really, really awesome career, and I really think, going back to where you were saying about people not being passionate, I just don't think that the options are put in kids' lap when they're 18 years old.
Right.
And that goes back to me talking about the first year of my career, right? Where I felt so sad, and I felt vulnerable, and I felt unsuccessful. I felt like I was doing something wrong, and I felt like I wasn't following the norm, right? It goes back to being 15, 16, 17, 18 years old and having somebody tell you, whatever you do, just go be fucking good at it.
Right.
Just go do it and you'll make money. Just go do it. As long, do something you're excited about. If that's an electrician, if that's a trade school, if it is a lawyer, if it is a mechanic, if it is this, if it is that, whatever it is, just do it and do it 100%, right?
Right.
But we're not told to do that. We're told that we have to fit this mold, and now there's hundreds of thousands of people in my generation with these degrees, and they can't find frickin' jobs, because everybody and their mother went and did that.
Right.
So I just think it goes back to that, like breaking the mold and just being told that you can do anything, but whatever you do, just do it,
Right.
Neither my boyfriend or I neither of us have 4-year degrees.
Right.
He's a marine engineer, but he went to a trade school, works for the ferries, and we hold our own in Kirkland, Washington.
Right.
We hold our own, and neither of us have 4-year degrees.
Right.
But we love what we do, right?
Right.
And so I'll be damned if I have kids and they don't know that there are options out there. I hope I'm in a place to help my kids pay for school so they have the option if they want to go. But I think that's what it really goes back to is, whatever you want to do it. Just be freaking good at it and give it all that you have. But there's no education teaching kids. In the education world, it's like, you gotta go to a 4-year university, you gotta take the SATs and get a good score. And
when did you start coming into the mindset of you considering yourself to be a professional? Or
I don't know if I still do. I'm a professional therapist. That's what I call myself. I'm a therapist because I'm a hairdresser, but I'm also a therapist.
Because the way
I have a license on my wall. It tells me that I'm a professional.
Okay.
But I don't know that I think of myself as one, obviously, but it's my job.
Well, because I've known you for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And the way you conducted yourself 5 years ago, the way you conduct yourself
Is it
now.
different?
Huh?
Is it different?
It's not different at all. That's what I was going to tell you.
That's
it's
weird. I wish I could go back and look at myself.
From the very moment that I met you,
yeah.
There's some people when you talk to,
yeah,
and this is the one thing that I give everyone, for free, no matter what.
Yeah.
I will treat you like the professional that you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And I think a lot of people in the industry struggle with that concept of considering themselves to be a professional, so they don't know how to conduct themselves. And so the first time I met you, I knew you were young, but the way you conducted yourself was insanely professional. And it's the same thing as the way you are now. Okay. So I was wondering, if you made that shift early on.
I have one. I know the answer just hit me right then. Right when you said that, it reminded me. I have a client whose daughter owns a beauty school in San Francisco.
Right.
And she needed a new hairdresser. And she walked by my old salon, looked in the window, came in, bought some product, and then she, next time she came in and kind of looked at everybody.
Right.
And she, I think she did that a couple times, right? She just kind of gauge it. I mean, her daughter owns a beauty school, for God's sakes.
Sure.
Homegirl's probably particular. I know she's particular. She's my client. Love you, Sarah. But she said, and she told me this a year after I knew her, after I'd been doing her hair, she was like, you were always busy. You always had your hair and makeup done. You always were dressed nice. You were always talking and you always looked happy. So I decided to book. I said, I want to book with her. And so I think that was one of those moments where I realized, I was like, oh my God, I have it together. Even from the outside, I look like a professional. And I actually just hit a really cool new milestone. I was just telling somebody about this. I have made it a priority to have a presence on social media with my hair, with my business, right? With Merakai's.
You have to.
Yeah, I have to. But the coolest thing is when people start bringing in your pictures of your hair that you did instead of pictures off of Pinterest.
Oh.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, when did that start happening?
I mean, probably like a year ago.
How did you find out?
Well, people would come in and they'd show me my picture that I posted on Instagram, on my business Instagram.
Yeah.
So, they bring a picture of a blonde and it would be my picture that I did.
Right.
Right? Because they found me on Instagram.
Right.
So instead of being brought pictures of Khloe Kardashian and Jennifer Aniston and...
Does that happen a lot?
Yes.
Kim or Khloe more?
Kim. Khloe.
Wow,
Khloe
really?
for sure. Oh, yeah. She's blonde. She's blonde and it's freaking awesome. Which actually, her hairdresser, this is what I love about our industry. It's changing because Khloe Kardashian, her hairdresser is on Instagram. Her name's Tracy Cunningham. I'm obsessed with all of them. Everybody that is in the fashion Kim, or Kardashian clan. Right. I'm obsessed. I love to look at them. I love to learn from them. But she posted Khloe's formula verbatim. By the book, what she does, because she's like, I want my hairdressers out there to be able to recreate it, because I know, because of my work, now you are gonna be getting this picture, and I want you to know how to do it.
I love that shit.
I love it. Me too.
People hoard information.
Me too. I love it. And actually, and then the other day, this is another example, but I keep getting clients from a stylist that moved, which I'm ever so thankful for, that she, put me down as an option on the list of her clients to choose from because she moved. But I didn't get any formulas. Which is like when my clients leave, I always send them with formulas. Like I'm like, I write down everything. I mean, it breaks my heart because it's like, this is my heart. I worked so hard to perfect this formula, right? But I'm not gonna make my client go and start over from scratch just because it was my thing that I perfected on their head, Right. But yeah, I love that the Kardashians, hairdressers in that 1%, right, who make ridiculous amounts of money. Yeah. They're so out there and open and honest and willing to help, and they, I think that's really cool. I really think the hair industry is changing for the better. There's a lot of things that are changing, like the salon vibes and, all of that, but I think we're heading in a really cool directions, and options are really being opened up, and like having to explain to my clients, they're like, well, do you continue education? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, really, how? And I'm like, online. It's hard to explain to them that the world is changing. Like, I don't need to go to a class in Las Vegas anymore to be able to get the information that I used to get there. It's all online. Exactly. It's on webinars, and
I think the
places like you, people like you walking around asking questions and being out there with it. So the hair industry is changing. The future of education will definitely be online. It is online for sure.
Because I'm hoping that eventually what I'm going to do with this is that I'm going to turn it into, for example, if someone wanted to teach balayage, they could do it, on camera. And the benefit of that is that when you're in a class, this is in real time. You can't rewind. You can't ask questions. Right? You can't do any of that. So if you can rewind and you can see everything that's going on, I think
which is kind of what's happening on Instagram.
Right.
They kind of have that where it's like they'll show you how they're doing it, and they'll post their formulas, and you know what I mean, that it is getting so innovative and also inclusive. Like, it's so easy to get that access, to have access to that education now, which I think is really cool.
I think the idea is like free information.
I hope that some girl, my goal, is that some girl sees me talking to you and thinks to herself, wow, well, hairdressing has always been in my... I've always thought about it, but I could actually do it, and I could do good with it. You know what I mean? I could build a career for myself and eventually have a family with this career, and you know what I mean? I can do something that's worth my time and energy and life. I mean, that's what I hope, is that You know, by me doing this, somebody gains access to information that I didn't have, you know.
Right. I think this goes without saying, but when you were saying in the very beginning, the moment that you had, you know, the comb and you had a foil, if you knew that if you could pass that feeling on to everyone who was just getting into hair,
it would make me cry.
I'm sure you certainly would.
Yeah. And I hope one day I get to do that. I hope one day I get to teach people, and I just don't feel like my time is done yet in the hair industry doing hair. You know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe that could coexist with me doing hair, but yeah, I wish I could just give that feeling to people, because it's such an anomaly. It's such a 1 in a billion chance that you pick up something and it's like light bulb, like this was meant to be, this is what my light, you know?
Right.
It's such a rare feeling, but I mean, I kid you not, I remember doing like one of my first foils and just being like, damn, this is cool, you know, like,
right.
This is where I'm meant to be. But it has taken a long time and it's been a long road, and I know it's not over yet. There's always bumps, but
in closing, if there's any advice that you could just give to anyone, what would be like your last words of advice just for anyone that's getting into the game?
Work Sundays.
Work Sundays? No Sunday fun day brunch.
No shit. Sunday fun days. Sundays are a vital, and I said that, were the most important day of the week for me, building my career. People are available. They want to come see you, and once you got them in and you got them hooked, they'll come on Saturdays. They'll come in the week, you know, during the week on weekday nights. But I built my clientele on Sundays, and it was hard work, but I did it, and I'm reaping the benefits, and it's amazing. But just work hard and be honest and be willing to learn and ask a lot of questions. But definitely just enjoy it, you know. And remember, your clients aren't dollar signs. They're not dollar signs. They're just there to help you get, you know, they're your bread and butter. They're paying your bills. But I think hard work goes totally noticed in this industry. I think your clients can see it. I think your bosses can see it. And anybody that's not willing to see it can kiss your sorry ass, because you'll be waving at them from the top. So that's it.
Suck a dick.
Right? Peace.
Peace, dude. You're awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
Give me a hug.
You killed it, dude.